Hello contestants and welcome to the Finals Theory. Season 9 is officially here, and with that brings the latest sponsor into the spotlight, that being VOLPE, the company responsible for providing us the technology allowing us to play the finals. We will be not only taking a look at VOLPE as a company, we will also be diving into their role in MultiCo's greater scheme. Let's get into it. When selecting a sponsor during Season 9, you are able to learn more about the CEO and the sponsor itself through the Backstage tab. Through this Backstage information panel, we learned that VOLPE was once a mismanaged Anglo-American sports brand, risen from obscurity thanks to MultiCo's investment. Through MultiCo's investment, VOLPE markets a new era of athletic dominance with training programs, arena tech, and gear that blurs the line between muscle and machine. We also learned about the true identity of CEO M.E.T.P. who, for the longest time, was very unknown. However, we learned through this Backstage panel that M.E.T.P. is actually a woman, not a man. M.E.T.P. herself has impressive accolades, as she is a 3-time transatlantic world heavyweight boxing champion. Through her skills in the ring, she won a majority stake in VOLPE through, quote, sheer will in one legendary fight. What's concerning about M.E.T.P.'s rise to CEO is the fact that MultiCo found VOLPE's next CEO by putting up VOLPE's equity as a reward for the Transatlantic Boxing Championship tournament. This begs the question, was MultiCo seeking out M.E.T.P. to become their CEO, or was someone else supposed to win that fight? While we may never know this answer, this is something that you should keep in mind moving forward. This reveal on how M.E.T.P. became CEO also changes what I originally thought about VOLPE and the development of the finals. Because if you're not aware, during a sidebar with June, Scotty tells her that he asked M.E.T.P. for a pre-release version of the finals, before subsequently being cut off by June informing him that they're live on air. In my mind, companies such as Oculus Quest normally don't give out early copies of video games that are being produced on its VR technology. As well, why would a company that specializes in training programs and arena tech use its resources to host a video game? Keep in mind, VOLPE is a sports company, not a gaming company. Regardless how I feel about M.E.T.P. and Scotty's exchange, it seems that VOLPE's original focus was mainly sportswear such as Nike and Adidas, and has now shifted towards athletic development. You can see the contrast between the original vision of VOLPE and MultiCo's revision through items that have been released so far. As you can see, a lot of VOLPE's products are your typical sports garb up until Season 9, which is where we're introduced to the major piece in this puzzle, the Project Who set. This new VOLPE theme bundle is very important as it gives us a glimpse into the type of products that VOLPE currently produces due to MultiCo's influence. The description of this set reads, a sharp experimental set inspired by the quick, quiet instincts of a fox in the arena, sponsored by VOLPE. The most intriguing part of this set is the headgear and face paint. The face paint features these technological cyber vein decals that coincides with the idea of blurring the line between muscle and machine. As well, the headgear is a Fox-themed VR headset. This headset is what we loosely know as VOLPE's tech. It's also stated throughout the game that VOLPE's VR technology is what hosts the finals, heavily implying that this headset could closely resemble what's actually being used. The Project Who set is the best example of what we have the VOLPE's technology. However, I do believe that VOLPE's technology and its product lineup is actively being used throughout the finals as well. First, let's take a look at what VOLPE calls training programs. While training programs usually correlate to sports, we actually have this in the finals as well, that being in the form of the new practice range challenges that were added during Season 7. These challenges help you prepare for any situation in the arena, such as aim practice, in the shooting gallery, and even cash box deposit practice. Second, arena tech. I believe arena tech is a culmination of the realistic and dynamic maps we play on, as well as the crowd and scoreboards throughout the various maps that quite literally give it the sports arena feeling. Finally, gear. Whether gear is for the physical world or the digital world, that's unknown, but we can assume that gear is accessible in both planes of existence and is in any form of uniform and accessories available from VOLPE. Now that we've gone over what VOLPE's products are, what do I think MultiCo's end goal of VOLPE is? Well, I believe that the finals is actually a live tech demo for VOLPE's arena tech, training programs, and enhancement gear, with the end goal of possibly securing a military contract via the government. I personally find it strange that once again, a company that's focused on utilizing VR technology for athletic training would dedicate its resources to host a video game show such as the finals. However, I do not believe that MultiCo is working alone to achieve this. The company that comes to mind that could potentially be responsible for this contract deal is none other than Discovery Corp, the company that is responsible for the accuracy of these digital firearms that we use in game. Discovery Corp shows up on numerous weapons and items in the finals, such as the Sun Battery and other firearms shown on screen. Items that are created by Discovery Corp all share the same IS number, also known as indication of source. This unique number, which is 567478, tells you that this particular item was virtually manufactured by Discovery Corp. The tagline, virtually manufactured by Discovery Corp, is also present on these items as well. If VOLPE's technology landed in the hands of a military entity, this would shape military training as we know it. With VOLPE's training simulations in arena tech that would allow any soldier to learn and train anywhere and everywhere, and with gear that would increase the latent potential of any soldier, VOLPE would be able to create a super soldier. If you want an example of what this would look like, right now the company Enduril and Vario are both quite literally utilizing VR technology for this exact purpose. Enduril with their Eagle Eye, which essentially gives soldiers literally a real-life Call of Duty HUD, and Vario's X4 utilizing their VR technology for training purposes. I believe that's why the finals was created.
Hello, I'm June, one of the co-hosts of the show. Eagle-eyed contestants may have noticed that Enduril's technology has a similar likeness to that of our own recon senses that made its debut back in Season 1. Anduril also has their own implementation of thermal vision, which is also utilized by the light class.
Wowza, June! Spot on as always. But, how about we give the spotlight back to Crimson?
You heard the man, folks. Let's segue back to Crimson.
Through the finals, not only can MultiCo extract millions of user data to further improve the product, it would show any global superpower watching how effective VOLPE's technology really is. This idea may not be too far-fetched. One recently introduced contestant in particular embodies his vision perfectly. That contestant is none other than legacy contestant Ursa.
Control the tools! Control the outcome!
Ursa is a contestant that is stated to be born from MultiCo's early talent program, also known as M.E.T.P. Ursa is also noted to have dominated the arena for years, turning every match at the Grand Major into a spectacle. But what is MultiCo's early talent program? Well, just like everything else surrounding MultiCo, not much is known about it. However, it looks like graduates were given their very own MultiCo branded ARN called the Directive 9, as well as MultiCo early talent program certified talent charm. However, most originals were destroyed after initiative was shut down. What we see in game are archived assets, meaning that there could potentially be more assets out there that have not came out yet. This bundle in particular raises a couple of minor continuity issues. One, how does a custom M.E.T.P. ARN exist back then when the ARN was not introduced until Season 7? Would this mean that what's being released into the game now has already existed? Two, if the early talent program was supposed to be a secret, then why would MultiCo allow these items to return? Now you may be asking, what does MultiCo's early talent program and Ursa dominating arena have to do with VOLPE? Well, by understanding Ursa's origin, not only will we learn why MultiCo's early talent program shut down, it will tie everything I've talked about so far together. Now let's just focus towards the pieces in Ursa's bundle, as they will explain everything you need to know about Ursa and MultiCo's two intentions. Let's start with Ursa's headgear. The description reads as follows: MultiCo's completion model for their early talent vision. Ursa perfected. The phrase completion model confused me, and after researching what a completion model is, to the best of my ability, it seems like the goal of Ursa is to be perfect, auto-correcting any mistake and becoming robot-like. Whether Ursa is a human experiment or an AI made to complete in the finals, that's unknown. But if we assume VOLPE's technology is what created Ursa, then we can also assume that he was once human and is now more like a machine. Human or not, we do know that Ursa is in fact an experiment by MultiCo, as Ursa's chest rig is described as a composite chest rig engineered by MultiCo to track Ursa's personal performance metrics. Once again, MultiCo is not capable of engineering any sort of personal performance related gear, which is why I believe that this would have to be the work of VOLPE. VOLPE's goal is to make effort into excellence and regional champions in the legends, while providing gear that blurs the line between muscle and machine. Ursa's three remaining pieces of gear further push this idea that Ursa is always perfect. Ursa's gloves are described to deliver identical grip and release on every repetition, the only interface Ursa trusts between intention and outcome. When Ursa is done with his trousers, he is known for folding them twice, never thrice. Finally, his boots. And instead of the usual description, we actually get a first-hand account of what it's like being in the presence of Ursa. Quote, "Every step Ursa takes sounds identical. It's unsettling. Odilia the Trickster." Yes, you heard me correctly. Ursa has been created to compete and win against contestants such as Odilia herself. After analyzing all of Ursa's gear, I believe it's safe to say that MultiCo's early talent program is being backed by VOLPE's athletic program lineup. The training programs, the arena tech, down to the gear, all of it. I also cannot explain why Ursa themselves looks more machine than human. Even the face model also shares this robotic resemblance. With the combination of the robotic appearance and behavior, I also speculate that Vaya may have had a hand in Ursa's transformation. As it's revealed through their clarity, unity, progress, product trailer, they're capable of making these perfect bionic humans. Regardless, through this training program, Ursa became perfection, never straying away from his program, never making a single mistake, every move calculated and in sync, blurring the line between muscle and machine. Although Ursa dominated the arena for years and had a show-stopping performance at the Grand Major, what if I told you that Ursa never won a Grand Major? Now, how could that be? How could someone crafted for perfection, training for every optimal scenario, lose the Grand Major? Well, two final pieces in this bundle tell us this story. The first piece was a note from a rival contestant. A note that read,
Ursa don't become what they want.
This note was handwritten, in fact, unofficial. The only feedback Ursa never corrected. Now it was time for the Grand Major final. Ursa performed his pre-game ritual, but something was different about this ritual. Before the Grand Major final against Odilia, Ursa accidentally consumed 61 milliliters of Osbooze. Some say that's all it took to break perfection. In an ironic twist of fate, Ursa, who always did everything perfect, undid all of his hard work by drinking 1 extra milliliter of Osbooze, losing the Grand Major final to Odilia, and not allowing himself to become the monster they wanted, thus resulting in the failure and subsequent shutdown of the early talent program, erasing it from history and to be forgotten by all. Just like DD and Odilia, we do not know what happened to Ursa after the Grand Major, and although his story has ended, his legacy lives on, and highlights what happens when you allow yourself to become a monster. But in the end, what was the point of Ursa's existence? Was it for MultiCo to secure a government contract via VOLPE's technology, ensuring that they can bring in billions of dollars of revenue? Was Ursa created to steal the spotlight from contestants, allowing MultiCo to never have to pay up the grand prize money for the major? Or is Ursa simply a man who was so thirsty for victory, he relinquished his humanity in order to achieve that goal? So what do I really think of all this? I speculate in the early stages of the finals, MultiCo, through the help of VOLPE and possibly VIA, created the MultiCo Early Talent Program. This program's initiative was to showcase how effective VOLPE's products were at creating the ultimate soldier. This was achieved, of course, through VOLPE's arena tech and training programs, as we see in the practice range, and gear that Ursa wore during his time as a contestant. But after Ursa's failure at the Grand Major, the program was ultimately shut down and erased from history, shifting the finals into the game show we know today. But you know, that's just a theory. The finals theory. Thanks for watching.
Sit in the back, ayy, bitches all on my lap. They said, Billy, damn, you're so cold. I'm so chilly, yeah, my neck froze. Yeah, I'm gonna kill it, I'm thinking I'm like, oh, yeah. You think it's a joke? Your girlfriend just text me, she on the way over. Bend that bitch over, fucking the road, but call it a night. Wake up and start over. Ayy, shit's a wavy.